Okay, how about now? Try now. I think, no, try now. I just changed it. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Cool. All right, sorry about that. All right, so moving on, I'm going to start with some intros about myself. I just want to share my journey, and hopefully it helps some of you who might be in a similar position. So in 2020, I graduated university, started working in consulting. I had no clue what I wanted to be working on or what kind of industries. Consulting ended up being a great idea because I was able to rapidly explore a ton of industries and companies of all sizes and all kinds of crazy tech stacks. So I recommend that, trying a lot of things and try them fast. And go in depth until you become fascinated and explore more, or invalidate it and kind of check that off as something you're not interested in. From there, in 22, started getting a bit bored with the corporate life, and a friend asked if I wanted to do some work outside of work, and it so happened to be in Solana ecosystem. If you were around Solana at the end of 21 and start of 22, you might remember the NFT bull run at the time. And so in about like half a year, we made a few like white labeled products for raffles and giveaways for NFT communities, and then implemented them for like maybe 15 collections. And that was kind of my intro to development in this space. And I was just immediately fascinated by all these folks who are so interested and driven and working hard. I kind of felt unmatched compared to what I had seen before. Wasn't really sure if it was startups or Solana, but I knew I wanted more of it. From there, I attended Breakpoint later that year and then met some folks from Germany in similar positions, and we decided to collaborate on a submission for Grizzlython at the time, which is now Coliseum. And we took home the consumer track as well as like Germany Super Team Demo Day prizes. And that was a big win for me personally. And I was very excited to get more of that Solana work. Excuse me. And then from there, the following year, I landed my first role and finally felt at home. And I was a developer at Cube Exchange for the last year, building a lot of the front end for our products. And then just a few months ago, I wanted to get more into DeFi, so Saros gave me the opportunity, and then I joined as ecosystem lead, and here we are today. As you can tell, I'm not a presenter by day. Cool. So before we jump in, I do also want to provide a bit of context on kind of how we got to concentrated liquidity as it is today. So I want to discuss the evolution of the AMM. So it was really pioneered by Uniswap with their first launch in 2018, and they introduced this constant product formula that became known as the kind of the AMM standard across DeFi. Following that, in 2020, Curve Finance, I think they coined it stable swap, but it was the first kind of recognized implementation of a concentrated liquidity. So how can we make these trading more efficient by providing more efficient capital on pairs? And then Uniswap v3 kind of took that to the next level and try to generalize it with this new concentrated model allowing custom price ranges. And then in 2022, Trader Joe really pioneered this DLMM model, launching their liquidity book implementation on Avalanche, which supported dynamic fees and bin liquidity, which is kind of the essence of the DLMM today. And then the next year, Meteora brought this to Solana. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. And they implemented these flexible liquidity shapes to take the concentrated liquidity or enhance concentrated liquidity so you could be even more precise. And then in 2025, Saros collaborated with Trader Joe actually to implement our DLMM model, kind of following their liquidity book approach, and to expand liquidity across the Solana ecosystem. Today, we're also seeing the rise of a more mature liquidity environment evolving with a lot of players. And we're also seeing the rise of prop AMMs who are running these gated protocols and really actively managing their positions to drive even tighter spreads across major markets like Sol USDC. So I'm going to talk a bit about what we've been up to the last month or so at Saros and the direction we're taking. So in September, we onboarded 70 million of Bitcoin wrappers onto our new DLMM DEX. And this really pushed us to be, I think, at this moment, the largest Solana Bitcoin DEX, which is about like 7% of all Bitcoin on Solana. And in turn, this has helped us drive our metrics. So our trading volume and TVL are both going up, but this is just the start, hopefully. We plan to continue this approach by bringing assets that are typically neglected on Solana or haven't been bridged to this ecosystem to keep trading and activity on Solana. We think these are mutually beneficial partnerships for both the projects, us, and the community. I truly believe this is kind of where the market is heading. Bitcoin has pretty much solidified itself as a qualified store of value, and people want to be able to do that with their money on Solana without having to change networks or try new things. And I think we'll continue to see that happening. The reason we're doing this is we believe these assets offer much more long-term value for users and will outlive many of the meme era tokens we've seen today. So we hope to continue this and continue growing, specifically with the Bitcoin liquidity. But as everyone knows, in the Solana ecosystem, you cannot grow without trust and support from the builders within the ecosystem. So we've also made some efforts to grow there as well. And this kind of started in the last 2 months as well. So we were able to launch 4 bounties. We just wrapped up our 2 most recent. And we've offered opportunities for mainly builders, but also content creators. We've resulted in 30 winners from over 200 submissions in just about a month. Shout out Super Team for the great community and support. And the result has been phenomenal for us. We know where we're at right now and what we need to get to. So we've been internally upgrading and ramping up our SDKs and our resources and additional guides for developers to smooth that process and really make integration as easy as possible. We've started a dev community that's growing and collaborating, discussing problems and helping each other out. And we now have insight on how to run a better hackathon in the near future, which we are planning to do. Cool. Now I'm going to jump into talking about our most recent bounty, because it's very similar to a hackathon. We asked folks to kind of explore demo ideas using our DLMM. And I think it's a good example. We can kind of use it as a case study to see how a hackathon will unfold from submissions to the judging to the results. So we launched this 3 weeks bounty, and we asked folks simply with an open-ended prompt to just build a working demo app using the DLMMS DKs. The requirement's straightforward. We asked to just deploy the app so we could use it, use the DLMM SDKs, and then open source it so we could also review the code. I'm going to walk through the review process from a judge's perspective and share insights and advice from what I learned. Cool. So from my perspective, this is kind of how it went. The initial review was a lot easier than finalizing the winners. This is because majority of these submissions from the quick elimination kind of just missed obvious things. They didn't follow the requirements, or they didn't actually implement the SDK, or they're just stubbed the mock data across the app, or just generally they were only submitting for the bounty. I would say don't do that. It won't benefit you or the judges. And it won't leave a positive look if the judge is reviewing that, and it's not hard to sniff it out, especially with open sourcing the code. So I would say generally pick something you're interested in and follow it. Something you're passionate about will make the work more interesting and more exciting for you. The second phase was really the hardest part, which was drilling down 5 winners from about 15 strong submissions during the demo challenge. I found myself reviewing these over and over again and diving deeper into what they actually submitted from both their code as well as the actual demo. Kind of trying to balance what they implemented with the story they're trying to tell and the future goal of the product. And what I learned from that is unique ideas definitely stand out. People who pick something of their own that actually had a use case in the ecosystem, it became obvious that they were actually using the technology. If your submission was just how can I implement these endpoints, and there's no actual use, it's kind of obvious. And then another thing I noticed is that the ideas we suggested became crowded, especially the first one on the list, it seems. So I would say shy away from like recommended ideas because they will be crowded, and then you're like facing this competition within the larger competition. And then there's likely only going to be 1 or 2 winners for that idea. So I would say explore other options if possible. And lastly, intuitive working demos with a clear roadmap win. So even if the app only really implemented a couple features, but it felt like a product and you knew what their goal was, I really like that, especially when the demo, like I used one feature and then I try to explore the next. It gave me that urge, like, oh, I want to try this out, rather than just like a write-up of this is what we plan to do in the future. I really like that feeling as a judge. So looking at what separated these winners from the rest of the submissions was this overall product feel. It didn't look thrown together, and it felt like a real tool you'd actually use. Some actually went above and beyond in creating like an entire look and feel and a brand identity for the product, which is really awesome, and I think really conveys the interest and knowledge of the topic. Depth over breadth, I would say. A few features that work really well versus this, oh, we're building the greatest super app ever, but nothing works at the moment. I appreciate it more. And then the growth potential. So could this idea actually scale into a business? Is there a clear usage for the product? Is there a need? Is there a demand? All this to summarize is like, this is definitely the judge's perspective. Is this just a bounty submission, or is this the foundation of a real product that the ecosystem needs? So moving forward, I'm gonna just highlight one of our winners and kind of show what I liked about it, because I think it's a good example. Cool. So this was one of the submissions we had for the demo challenge. I was overall impressed with the deployment, because as you can tell, it does really look like an actual product. A few folks, like I mentioned, went ahead with like this branding, which was also a great bonus. But at its core, it was a novel concept, so it wasn't just one of the examples. It had this production polish that felt like a product, and there was working integrations with a vision for more. So while like the automated strategies from this submission weren't actually deployed, they were seeded and accessible, so you can kind of understand the flow, while there's also real integration showing our pools and your positions. I think this pattern appeared across all the winners. So strong idea plus execution plus that domain knowledge or just general interest in the topic will definitely up your odds. So I'm gonna pivot to talking about how you can take these concepts and run with them for your submissions and work over the next few weeks. To really drill it down, these are kind of the most important things that I've found. So again, one flawless feature working end to end that the judge can actually explore the product, test it out, and get a feel for it is better than a super app. Double and triple dip across tracks and other bounties. I think Super Team is up to like over $230,000 in additional bounties. So definitely take a look at them and explore how you could maybe enhance your product, your submission with some opportunities here, because we do have enough time for that. Last few things, I would say leverage your strengths. If you're a front-end developer and you're comfortable with Next, use it. Don't try to deploy a mobile app this time or try to write a program. Stick to what you know. And if you want to pick up something new, I would say like pick up a new integration from the ecosystem. So see how it can play into your app. But your core tech, stick to your strengths. And lastly, yeah, don't reinvent the wheel. There's tons of amazing tools across Solana. If you're debating building something big, there might be existing features or integrations via other SDKs that will actually just allow you to speedrun this. You don't have to reinvent it. Cool. So here's kind of how I would be thinking about these last couple weeks of the hackathon. So from now until, or the next week, so the next 7 days, I would, well, definitely finalize your idea if you haven't yet. If you're struggling, then yes, use some of the recommendations or the resources from the foundation. But I do recommend you try to build something that you're really interested in or passionate about. It'll make the entire building phase easier, and you'll feel more confident in your product, and you'll be able to crush your demos. And then if you're really struggling, I would say consider finding a partner or joining a team if possible. The camaraderie is great, and you'll be able to learn from these other people and bounce ideas off of each other. And then again, for the following week, take a look at other ecosystem SDKs and see how these can fit into your product or app. These are low effort, high reward payoffs. If you're able to bring in an additional integration with a quick SDK, and it brings the new features to your app while also diversifying your product, I think it's a great plus. And then make sure you have your deployment working and it's accessible. This was another issue we saw in our bounties is some of the people's deployments were like private Vercels. Make sure it's accessible. So, and even better, I would say, send it around to your friends or any communities and get genuine feedback. Because there's nothing better than that, and that's essentially what the judges will be doing anyways. And finally, in the second week, start thinking about that. How can I make this feel more like the product than just the demo or the submission? I think that's definitely a theme across the Solana hackathons since the origin, which I always liked because it really puts you in that product mindset, not just building the demo or following a prompt. It's usually open-ended with these generic tracks, really allowing you to take it however you want it and get creative. And I think that is definitely noticed by the judges. In your final week at the end of the hackathon, I would say definitely set a deadline for yourself, like at least like 3 days to where you kind of cut off development. If you're, sorry, what? Yeah, so try not to if you can. At the very minimum, like give yourself 24 hours. I know it's easier said than done because I was editing this PowerPoint like 30 minutes ago. But try and give it that cutoff so you can focus on delivering your pitch of yourself essentially. So you want to enhance your submission with as much as possible, and I do think spreading socially is great if possible, but really focus on drilling down on what you're presenting and why, and what you built and why. I think like a 5-minute demo is like you should be able to explain your entire process. So why you thought this was a good idea, what you built, and what you're going to do with it next, I think are really the driving core features that you should discuss. And then lastly, like again, get people to test it out and give feedback if possible, and just make sure that your project is actually accessible and everything's working from the for a potential judge. So not in your developer environment, because that's the worst thing. If like if Connect Wallet just breaks and then you on your deployment and then the judges don't even get the chance to explore it, is definitely a shot in the foot. So protect yourself by testing. All right, these next couple, this is my favorite slide of the deck, and I think it's the most important. I think most people in this room can probably resonate with it, and it's an evolving, growing problem. But here's kind of what I would recommend. So the biggest problem I see in submissions, and the biggest problem I face in my work myself, is how to leverage AI to use it right. When you use AI correctly, it feels like you actually have a superpower. And when you use it wrong, it's a living nightmare. So I would say just be conscious of your use, and leverage it appropriately. Try to stay away from getting carried away where it goes in agent mode and starts rewriting your app. And especially early on, I would say use it for brainstorming and use it for like ideation, and of course boilerplate. But when you're laying the foundation of your like core logic and your infrastructure, do not get distracted. I know it can feel easier, but I've noticed the more of the implementation, the core foundation of your implementation that you do, then later on you can guide AI to actually speed run versus it'll just exponentially hallucinate if you let it run from the start. So yeah, that's what I mean by your core logic and your architectural decisions. Don't let it turn you into a prompt engineer. Use the AI. Do not let it use you. I would say a good rule of thumb is, can you explain your files and your code base? Because I've noticed if you're using an agent or like Claude Code, you'll often see this happen. Is like you just ask for something that seems straightforward, but for whatever reason with your prompt, it got confused, and now it's rewriting your app, and there's like 10 new files. Avoid that, as I mentioned. So really use it to orchestrate your features instead of building that core foundation. And then lastly, just to wrap it up, I wanted to share like what you can do with Saros if you're interested. And if you have any questions, definitely just join our Telegram, and I'm pretty active in there and would love to help anyone out who's interested. So we currently have 4 SDKs, so we support our AMM and our newer DLMM in Rust and TypeScript. We have docs available at our site, and then we have a dev workshop where I walk through a DLMM integration with the SDK, and it's a good intro if you're new to the DLMM or working with liquidity pools. These are some ideas that you could take or transform or add them if you're interested. So I think this one bin king thing is interesting and could drive like promising yield for LPers for stablecoins or other like pegged assets like LSTs. And I think it would be very popular because a lot of liquidity on Solana is stored in those, so stablecoins and LSTs. And you could definitely drive some pretty incredible yield if you use this approach where you rebalance liquidity into a single bin while managing slippage and transaction fees to optimize yield on your assets. Additionally, LP Hub would be cool. I think this is starting to happen, and I think there'll be more growth here. I always love shouting out HawkFi. I think their product is really great, and I think we'll see more of those. DLMM and concentrated liquidity still kind of seems foreign to a lot of users, but I think it will become a normal part of most folks who trade on DeFi. It'll be a part of their strategies. So we'll definitely need more tools to equip traders with this. And then lastly, more of like an educational standpoint, but I do think there's also this knowledge gap still present. So a playground for developing the strategies, being able to backtest, being able to actually simulate the results and what it would look like if you deploy the strategy are still needed. And this is both great for like new traders and more pro traders because I mean, everyone would love to forecast the strategy before deploying. And I still think it's not there yet. As far as I know, there's not many tools enabling this at the moment. And then taking that one step further, some sort of framework to allow users to share their strategies. This is kind of happening where we're seeing like copy LP bots, but rather than just copying a wallet, allowing successful traders or market makers to publish their strategies for others to use and apply in their own trading, I think is a great idea. And again, feel free to join or reach out to me if you have any questions or you're interested. Cool. That's all I had for you all today. This is my Telegram and Twitter if you want to connect. Thank you all for joining the session. I hope I was able to provide some valuable insights, and I wish you all the best of luck in your demo day on Sunday, as well as your Cypherpunk submissions. Thank you. And we can do questions if anyone has any.
So, I want to. So I think you mentioned that having something demoable is very key. What if you're building a mobile application?
Is test flight not possible for you?
I suppose it is possible, but I'm just curious, like what are like judges willing to install test flight and run the application, or if you're doing React Native, would Expo Go be an option?
Yeah, I would say like I would deploy into Expo Go or whatever you can. But we had someone submit for same concerns, and they just kind of reached out to me before and let me know, and I just said, make sure you provide actual video demos. So I think in that case, they're most important for you. Make sure you have videos of the screen just in case the judge doesn't want to go through that. But I don't think you can be penalized for it. Especially just make sure you open source the code with your submission, and I'm sure you'll be good. Yeah, like we can run the repo ourselves as well. This is probably the easiest way.
Is it a requirement to open source it, or could I just provide access to the repo?
I think for Coliseum it's required, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you can keep it private? Okay. But yeah, I would say just definitely drill down your video. It'll benefit you.
Anyone have a question?
Sweet. Thank you all, and best of luck. I look forward to watching the demos.
Thank you.